Over £3 billion was spent by Premier League clubs during the summer transfer window. Some clubs busy, doing a lot of business, spending a lot of money. Other clubs, not so much. But who do we think won the transfer window? That's what I want to discuss today, and I'd like to see as many of you guys get involved as well in the comment section. Don't be shy. Let me know how you would rank each Premier League club, and also how did your team get on. Let me know who you support and how you think your team did in the transfer window. My tier list is ready to rock and roll. At the very top, we've got fantastic the clubs that impressed during the summer. We've got looks good. Could be various reasons to go in there. We've got it's all right, the neutral category, and then we've got the not quite enough one at the bottom. I don't feel like I need to have more than 4 tiers. I don't want to have one that says stinky, because I don't think anyone was that bad. Were they? That's what we're going to discuss. Right then, let's take a look at Arsenal. I'm using FOTMob for this. This video is not sponsored by FOTMob. My channel is not big enough for any brand deals. I just like FOTMob. Hincapié came in on transfer deadline day. Obviously, Eze there. Gyökeres, they needed a striker. That's who they went and got. Mosquera came in quite early on in the transfer window. There you go, just late July he joined. Madueke, maybe a bit of a surprise signing, but I've been impressed so far. I thought he had a good game against Liverpool. Norgard felt like a smart signing. Zubimendi felt like a necessary signing. I think Kepa I would also put under smart as well. I thought he did okay at Bournemouth last season. £5 million for your sort of backup goalkeeper. So overall, Arsenal were very busy in the transfer window. Just quickly, players out. Kiwior went out to Porto on loan. Reece Nelson to Brentford. Zinchenko, a transfer deadline day, moved to Nottingham Forest. Vieira, Lokonga got sold. So not really any big departures from Arsenal, but plenty of new signings and impressive signings as well. So we'll go to the tier list. I'm going to put them in fantastic. I think what they needed to do, what they needed to address in the transfer window, they needed to get in that striker. They've got that. They've improved a defence that possibly didn't even need improving, but I think they've got depth across the back four now. Left back, Lewis Skelly, Calafiori. Centre back, Mosquera, Hincapié, Gabriel Saliba. Right back, Timber, Ben White. These are fantastic options. If you took what you consider to be their second choice for every position across that back four, I would argue it's better than most, if not all, teams in the Premier League with their first choices. So they've got incredible depth there. Zubimendi and Norgard, 2 really good defence midfielders. Then that creativity with Eze. And I think Madueke could be a smart signing for Arsenal as well. So I'm very impressed with what Arsenal done, actually. So I'm going to pop them in fantastic. Right. Let's turn back. We'll just click on Crystal Palace because they're there. Let's have a look at their transfers. Right then. This is where it gets a little bit tricky. I should have left this till a little bit later on in the video, because some players I've never heard of, and I got criticised. In my last video, I did the most expensive signing for every club, and someone criticised me saying, well, what's the point in that? I'm never going to lie here. If you want a channel that pretends they know every single player, this ain't the right one. Tartan ain't for you. But if you want honesty, then stick around. And please do subscribe if you haven't done so already. Right, I've heard some good things about him. Is it Ook? Is that how you say his name? Played in various different positions rather than just striker. But there's a few people's opinions who I trust when it comes to football wanted to see him at West Ham. So that's given me confidence he's a good player. £23 million for a centre-back from Toulouse. Pino, we've discussed previously. I'm excited to see him in a Crystal Palace shirt. Sosa hasn't really impressed me when I've seen him. He's come on in a couple of games so far for Palace. He's looked okay at very best, and I think I'm being kind there. But for these 3 big signings that they've made, I don't know enough about them really. Looking at players out, Edouard left. Finally, they need to get rid of him. Franca's gone out on loan. Eze also went to Arsenal. No, bar Eze, there's no real big departures there from Crystal Palace. Obviously keeping a hold of Mark Gay as well. So in terms of the tier list, it's a difficult one because there are 3 big signings I don't really know enough about. So I'm going to put them in it's all right, but it's more down to my lack of knowledge rather than anything else. But they've spent money. They've replaced Eze, which is the main thing. I don't think it's a bad transfer window, but also it doesn't scream like it's a good one yet. I think for them to have a good transfer window, all of those signings need to be a success. But I do think Crystal Palace, their success rate over recent transfers has been good. When you look at the likes of Munoz and stuff coming in, Mateta, they've been good signings. So I almost feel confident they'll work out, but until they do, I'm going to leave them in. It's all right. However, if I was to revisit this halfway through the season, I think I might be popping them up and looks good. But I'll leave them there for now, and that's a reflection of me, not Crystal Palace. All right, let's turn back here. We've got any Premier League clubs to click on? We've got Chelsea. Let's click on Chelsea. Let's have a look at their transfers. They were busy, weren't they? Anyway, Burnley joining on transfer deadline day, or just the day before on loan. Feels a bit of a strange move, that one. Garnacho, I think, will be a good signing for them. Hato's a good player. I like him. He's a good signing. Gittins, I love. Still not complete. They're gonna require a little bit of patience with Gittins, but I think they can afford to give him patience because they've got Garnacho, because they've got Neto. I don't think there's pressure on him to be a success, whereas other clubs, like Crystal Palace with Pino, for example, there is a little bit of pressure that you need to hit the ground running. Pedro, I think, is a fantastic signing at £60 million. Liam Delap, I think, is a brilliant signing too. And Stavo, who's joined, but they signed previously, he's come in. I don't know enough about one or two of the other players, but I'll be honest with you, I've been impressed by Chelsea signings. They've signed quality, and I don't think the prices are too offensive either. Looking at the players that left, obviously Ben Chilwell went out, Nicholas Jackson finally joined Bayern Munich, and Kunku left with, if they did get the 35 million, I think that's an okay fee for someone that can only be deemed a bit of a flop. Chukwuemeka, they got 20 million for, that's fine, someone they didn't want. Vega, 24.5 million, Broya, 23 million, Hugo Chukwu, I mean, these are in euros here, I should watch that. I think he was a bit less than that. £23 million, I think Hugo Chukwu was. Broya, 20 million quid. I don't like that one as a signing for Burnley. We'll get onto it. I think that's a good sale for Chelsea. Hugo Chukwu, I think, is fair. A lot of players going out. Dewsbury Hall, 20 million. So Chelsea recouped a lot of. I mean, look at all these players that have left. Some of them are back in February, back in the January transfer window now. I was hoping there was a total at the bottom there, but they've recouped a lot of transfer money there, Chelsea. So they've done a lot of business, but actually, I think their sort of players leaving is just impressive in some regards. Some of it feels a little bit dodgy, if we're being honest, like João Felix, but I'm going to put Chelsea. I mean, it looks good or fantastic, isn't it? Do you know what? I'm going to be fair. I'm going to put them in fantastic. I think, is it just because it's Chelsea and they spend so much money? Is that why I've got reservations? Is it because it looks like they're playing Football Manager to some extent? Therefore, it's easy just to go out and splash all the money when you've got loads of it. So is it that impressive? But actually, looking at the business they've done in as well as out, I think the business they've done out is also impressive. So I'm going to put them in fantastic, actually. I think it's been a really good window for Chelsea. Right, back to Foot Mob. Well, we've got Brighton here. Let's go to Brighton next. I'm hoping that I can get halfway through the video just clicking on clubs that they've done business with. Like, De Coupier's come in. Looks all right so far. He comes with a big reputation, I think. So I'm intrigued to see how he gets on. They've done some business at the back. They needed centre-backs. Brighton, Boscagli has gone in there. Coppola has gone in there. He's someone that's had a big reputation in Italy for a little while. To say I know loads about either would be a lie, though. Costulas, again, someone that's gone in there with a big reputation, a lot of hype, £31.5 million. The record transfer sale from the Greek league prior to this at £31.5 million was Pedens for about 16, so it's double the record. Big pressure on him. I'm looking forward to seeing him though. Tom Watson obviously scored that goal for Sunderland. This transfer was arranged back in January, although it didn't go through till the summer. So they've done some good business, Brighton. They've done Brighton signings, haven't they? Bringing in younger players with a lot of potential, but I don't know loads about any of them. Looking at the players out though, O'Reilly's gone out on loan, which bit surprising. I like him. Just got that injury, didn't he, last season? Igor's obviously joined West Ham, and then Brunotti's gone to Chelsea, and Sisco's gone out to Strasbourg. Lamptey went out quite late on in the window as well. Someone that looked like he had it all at one point. Sima never really worked out for them. That felt like a good signing at the time, but never really worked out. So he's gone. Got in €4.5 million for him. And a few players have gone out on loan, like Cashin, for example. That was always a strange transfer, weren't it? Never really got a chance. Estupinian left for €70 million. Evan Ferguson's gone out on loan. Adringa went to Sunderland for 24 million. Pedro, 60 million. Barco 10 million. So they've done a lot of players out. I think most of the business has been departures. They've yielded a profit again in the transfer window, Brighton, but I guess that's the model of the team. But a lot of young players coming in. I think there's a lot of excitement from Brighton fans about what these three in particular could do. Let me just turn my light on. The sun's gone behind the clouds. So for the tier list, it's one of them. It's a little bit Crystal Palace-esque, and I'm going to put them in there. It's all right. Just because I don't know enough about some of the players. I appreciate for those tuning in now thinking, this guy's done 4 clubs, and 2 of them, he said he doesn't know enough about them. At least you can't say don't make it up, right? Right then, have we got any... There you go, I've got Sunderland. Let's click on Sunderland. My technique is working so far. Right, okay. Now, they've brought in some players I've heard of, right? Charlie's gone in there from Ajax on transfer deadline day. I'll be honest with you, I didn't even know they signed him. So this is new news. Brian Brobby, someone that a few years ago was like the next big thing, wasn't he? Then he got injured and he's been a bit quiet. Can we see how good he done? Let's see if we can have a little look and see how he did last season. 24-25, 4 goals and 3 assists out of 22 starts. So it wasn't the best season for him. But if we go back through his sort of career, let's have a look and see what we can see. So his assists are good. This is for last season. It's not the worst statistics in the world. Won a lot of fouls anyway. Here you go. You can see here 43 goals in 131 games for Ajax in total for Brian Brobby. So it's a player that once upon a time was really good, and there was a lot of sort of hype around him, a lot of things expected of him. You can see his player traits here. So his chances created and his aerial duels are good. Just 23 years of age, so he feels older. It feels like he's been around a little while, Brian Brobby. I think it's an okay signing. It's a punt, but I think Sunderland needed a punt. Sunderland needed to bring in a striker. They had to get someone in, and that's who they've gone for. And then they brought in players with, again, big reputations. Geert Ruda, I shouldn't know how you pronounce his name. I've seen him play plenty for Leipzig. Again, a player with a good reputation. Mukiele's got a good reputation. Alderete looks good so far. Again, a lot of people with big expectations of him think he was one of the best centre-backs in Spain last season. Masuaku I'm not keen on. Obviously, Q's gone back to Chelsea already. Roof's, he's looked okay so far, but I'd be lying if I said I knew about him. But I did do a bit of research when they signed him, though, because it felt like it was an important signing at the time. It was very early August they signed him, and I've seen that he's really good at coming for the claiming high balls. Xhaka is one of my favourite signings of the summer at the entire Premier League. I think that's a fantastic signing. Adingra could be one of those that serious hit or serious miss, couldn't it? He's one of those players that could be a massive flop, and it looks like they've massively overpaid, but he could also be someone that does fine and actually come down the season. He looks like a good signing. I think that's a wise punt. I'm filing that under the Brian Brobby, which is they needed to take a punt, and I don't think it's the worst gamble in the world. Same with Talby. I think he's another one. Ronaldo looks really good so far, comes with a lot of experience for them. Sadiki's looked really good in midfield. Diarra's looked brilliant. Obviously, Leafy was just someone that they'd had on loan and they had to sign because they got promoted. So I like the business that Sunderland have done. In terms of players out, obviously quite a few players leaving, which is normal for a club that's just been promoted. Obviously, the big one. Where is he? Where's Bellingham? I must have scrolled past him. Why is he not here? There he is. Bellingham joining Dortmund. That's obviously the big one. But because of the contract and stuff, they sort of needed to do something. In terms of PSR, that allows Sunderland to do a lot of work this summer. And they needed a lot of work, and they've done it. They had to spend to give themselves a chance of staying up. And I like the business they've done. They've improved, I think, the entire squad, left to right, front to back. They've taken in big players in big positions. This one in particular, Xhaka in particular, I just absolutely love as a signing. But also Sadiki and Diarra in midfield. The striker's the one I'm unsure of. Brobby is punt. But I'm glad they did it. You know, the 1st of September, so the day before the window closed, it was a case of we're going to need to do something. And I'm pleased they've done it, because I think, while Isidore's already scored and Mayenda's scored, I'm not 100% convinced they're ready for the Premier League yet. They might become Premier League quality, But today, right now, I'm not sure. I think that's a good little gamble there by Sunderland. I like what they've done. Actually, I love what they've done. I think they've given themselves a real chance of staying up, and that's what they had to do. There's a lot of signings they've made. That's my concern. And also, obviously, during the African Cup of Nations, quite a few of their players disappeared as well. But if they don't stay up, I don't think it's because they didn't make the most of the transfer window. I think they have done. Right, let's turn our attentions back and see if there's a Premier League club. There's Chelsea, there's Brighton. We've done those ones. Liverpool, there we go. Let's have a little bit of that. Right, obviously Isak went in, 125, 130 million. They got in Leone from Parma, the 18-year-old centre-back. I think it's going to be a wait and see for him. I think they're buying someone for the future there. Ekitike has started really brightly for them. Kerkez is a top signing. Wirtz is a top player. Frimpong, he hasn't started too well yet, has he? A couple of iffy appearances and then an injury, but certainly a very, very talented player. But just looking at their business, they brought in a world-class striker, a world-class midfielder, and an elite left-back. Someone, Ekitike, could go on and become world-class. Frimpong's a fantastic player as well. I really like the business that Liverpool done. In terms of the players out, Elliott's gone off to Villa, Smikas has gone to Roma, and Doak's gone to Bournemouth, £25 million they got. Obviously, Nunez went for £50 million off to Saudi. Tyler Morton, who played, I think, 2 games in the Premier League, went to Lyon. Diaz went to Bayern Munich. So they've taken in a lot of money. Kwanzaa to Leverkusen, but they've got the buyback clause on him. So if it looks like they've made a mistake, they can get him back. Kelleher to Brentford. Obviously, they got money for Alexander-Arnold in the end so that he could go play in the Club World Cup. So a lot of business by Liverpool in and out. So yes, they've spent a lot of money, but they've also taken in a lot of money as well. It's hard for me not to be sort of impressed by the business Liverpool have done, and I appreciate. I'm just saying everybody's done fantastic right now. That's the wrong badge. I never made this tier list. Someone had already made it, so I'll just use their one. Anyway, Liverpool, fantastic. I like what they've done. Now, I did see another Premier League club on their little list here, Bournemouth. So let's go and have a look and see what they've done. I'm not 100% sure what they've done off the top of my head. So this is a voyage of discovery a little bit. How on earth do you say this guy's name? Milosavljevic. I think he's 18. Is he 18 years old or 20? Yeah, he's 18-year-old centre-back. So someone that's clearly for the future. Can't say I've heard anything about him. Obviously quite good in air, 67% of his duels won. If we scroll just through down his statistics a little bit, the problem is he's only played 270 minutes. Let's see if we can... No, it doesn't let us go back to last season. That's annoying. His stats don't look very good, do they? But I'm not gonna judge him on that. One for the future, so we'll wait and see. But certainly Bournemouth scout well, they recruit well, so I'm confident he'll be a good player for them. Anyway, Adley's come in from Leverkusen, looks bright so far, needs to add goals and assists to his name. I might end up looking stupid here, but I don't think he's, from my memory, I don't think he's produced loads at Leverkusen. I mean, 23 goals, 143. It's not great for an attacker, but he's still slightly on the younger side of things at 25 years old. I think he's looked good when he came off the bench. Who did he play? It was Wolves I seen him play against, and I watched him see against Tottenham as well. But I think against Wolves, he came off the bench, looked really good, looked really bright. So I'm quite hopeful that he'll end up being a really good signing for Bournemouth. Gannon Doak, I'm a big fan of, but I appreciate him a little bit biased because of the Scottish connection. Diakite is someone I believe they were looking at before. So even before Howson and Zabarni left, like a year ago. So he's someone they've monitored. Looks good so far from what I'm seeing. I think Petrovic is a good signing. Truffert, again, it feels measured. It feels well researched because Kerkez, I don't think, had left yet. I mean, he was on the verge of it. Kerkez's dad was running around singing about Liverpool non-stop, but he came in and that was an important signing for them. I've been impressed with him. He just plays the same way as Kerkez. So Areola hasn't had to adapt his tactics with his left back. He's just got a like-for-like replacement in there. Obviously, Kupi was done back in January, but joined up now after staying at Lorient on loan. A couple of appearances off the bench for him, so it'll be interesting to see how he gets on. But I like the business that Bournemouth have done. In terms of the players out, obviously being quite busy, but in particular, obviously, Tada's going to Brentford, Zabani's going to PSG, Travers has gone up to Everton, we've got Housen going to Real Madrid. So there's been a lot of players moving out of Bournemouth as well as coming in. But I quite like it. I like the business that Bournemouth have done. I'm excited. I get excited to see players like Diakite join the Premier League. I look forward to seeing what they've got and what they can offer. In terms of the tier list, I'm going to put them in looks good. I think they've obviously lost quite important players there with Kirkes, Housen. I'm a huge fan of Zabani. I just don't think he ever got the credit he deserved, really. But it feels like they've replaced them. No, it does actually feel like they've replaced them well, especially Housen with Diakite and then Truffert to Kirkes. That feels like good replacements. But I don't know. I would have liked a bit more from Bournemouth. I think I was looking for that high energy central midfielder, because when Ryan Christie was out last season, I thought they were really missing him. And I appreciate he's back now, but he wasn't back at the start of the season. But I think Bournemouth have started the season well with Adams and Scott in midfield. So I'm going to put them in the looks good category. I certainly don't think it was a bad transfer window for Bournemouth, but I also don't think it was an unbelievable success. Right then, we don't have any players in we can move over, but Brentford should be here. So let's wiggle on over to Brentford. Not as busy as I thought they would be. Reece Nelson on deadline day on loan from Arsenal. I like it. Good signing. Utada from Bournemouth, just on the expensive side of things. Good player, but 44 million felt chunky. Henderson, I'm willing to say jury's out on that one. It feels... I mean, surely he's not... Is he good enough for the Premier League anymore? I don't know. I'll have to wait and see. Malambo's come in from Feyenoord. I don't know enough about him. Neither do Fotmob. I mean, Fotmob know nothing about him. There's just they don't even have his age. Anyway, good job Fotmob weren't sponsoring this video, because I've just done them dirty there. Kelleher's come in from Liverpool, a really good signing, and Coyote, who was on loan. But I've been very impressed by him. I think he's a fantastic player, actually. I think he's someone that's going to become a bit of a Premier League favourite at right back. He looks like he's got it all defensively. And how old is he? Going forward as well as defensively. Just 21 years of age, yeah. He looks like a great player. I liked what I seen last season. I think he had to be quite patient under Thomas Frank. I think he had to wait his time because he was playing Ayer at right back a lot last season. But he's made that position his own already. He's going to have competition from Aaron Hickey. But I do like that signing of Coyote. In terms of players out, though, it's been a busy one, isn't it? Wissa's gone, Rodoslav's gone, which I'm pleased about because I think he's crap. He's just one player I never really got. And Bomo obviously went to Man U, Norgard to Arsenal. So there's been quite a few big departures. Flecken went to Leverkusen. So there's been quite a few big players that left Brentford. In terms of obviously the replacements, well, they've got Utada and Nelson in for the attack, but also it's Thiago, isn't it? He's obviously started the season good, but he was like Ivan Toney's replacement, but he was just injured. So it's sort of like a new signing, but he's not a new signing. But with Bournemouth, I don't know. I'm going to be honest. I'm not sure it's enough. I just think they're, lacking a little bit. I was expecting a little bit more because Coyote was there last season. Keller's come in. That's a good signing. Him coming in is a good signing. I don't know anything about Malambo, so I can't say anything. Henderson doesn't feel like a great one. And also, Norgard's a big player to replace. Utada's replacing Mbomo. Nelson's replacing sort of like, I don't know, the squad position, if you like, of Wissa, although it's not a Wissa replacement, he's a winger. Don't know. Sorry, Brentford. You're the first club I'm going to put in not quite enough. I was expecting a bit more. Maybe I'm being a bit greedy. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh on Brentford. But this is my honest opinion. I think you're one or two signings short of a good window. So I'm going to put you in not quite enough. Right, back over. Who have we got? Have we got anyone we can click on here? Nope. What about here? Newcastle. I haven't done Newcastle yet, so let's head off there. See how far I can get clicking on clubs. Can I make it to the end? Probably not. Wolves are going to be difficult. Anyway, Wissa came in for Newcastle finally on transfer deadline day. 55 million, that's a big transfer fee. Nick Voltemade, 69 million. I like him. I think he's a good striker, good player, good attacker, not just out-and-out striker, but a good attacker. I think he's someone that could develop and become a really good signing for them. Ramsey, I'm a fan of if he can stay fit. Chow, I don't know enough about. I remember him at Schalke looking like a really good, young, promising centre-back. But if I was to tell you I watched him loads at AC Milan, I'd be lying, and I don't want to do that. Ramsdale, I'm not keen on. I'm not a fan of Adam Ramsdale. We'll put it this way, Nick Pope's still starting for them. So Newcastle needed a new goalkeeper. Had they signed James Trafford, say, I think he would have started. I think he'd have went in, and I think Trafford might be regretting it now with Donnarumma going there. And I do think Trafford should have went to Newcastle. But my point is, had they signed a different goalkeeper, there's a chance they would have been starting and Pope would have been on the bench. But Ramsdale isn't starting. Be interesting to see what he does with the Champions League. I think when the Carabao Cup comes around, Ramsdale will play those games. But what about the Champions League? How cup goalkeeper are you going to go? I don't think he'll go Ramsdale. I think he'll stick with Pope. But I'm just not a fan of him. Fan of Ramsdale. Alanga, yeah, 55 million. It's chunky, but I think you're getting almost guaranteed success. Obviously, he hasn't done anything yet, so had he scored a goal and got an assist, it'd be easy to sit here and go, oh yeah, I think Alanga will be a success. But actually, considering he's not done anything yet, it's sort of neck on block time. I think he'll be a good signing for them. I think he'll do some good work at St. James's Park. So I like it, don't like it, I'm unsure. I like it, I kind of like it. It's just a price tag. But I believe, basically, they signed Voltemad, and I think Brentford basically said to Newcastle, well, we know what you're getting for Isak, so we deduct Voltemad off that. What you've got left, we'll have that for Wissa. And I don't think Newcastle had much option, unfortunately. They needed two strikers. They left it late. Wolves weren't going to sell Larson. They sort of had to pay what they could for Wissa. But I think he's a top player. In terms of players out, obviously Isak, the big one, going off to Liverpool. Target went to Middlesbrough. I didn't know he'd left. I didn't know he'd joined Middlesbrough, even if it's just on loan. The goalkeeper's name that causes my brain confusion, Dubravka, off to Burnley. He had to go. Longstaff to Leeds. Good for PSR, just pure profit. And then, obviously, Kelly went back in January. I still can't believe they got that much money for a player. They signed him for free. He barely played, and they got 15 million for him. So he went out in January, but he joined on a permanent in the summer. So I think that's a good transfer fee to receive. I like it. I like the business that Newcastle have done. I think there's been a lot made of it. But like I said, if you coming into the window, and I've done a video about this, so the evidence is there. I felt they needed a goalkeeper, a centre back, a right winger, and then a midfielder and a striker. Now, obviously, that was prior to selling Isak. So they've got the striker, they've got the midfielder, they've got the centre back, they've got the right winger, and they've got the goalkeeper. So as far as I'm concerned, they've got everything they needed this window. Is it fantastic or is it good? I'm going to put it in good. I think I'm just not. For it to be fantastic, I think you've got to get like your main transfer targets in some of the positions. I don't think you'll get your main target in all of them, but I think it's fair to say the goalkeeper, they didn't get their main target. Centre-back, they didn't get their main target. Midfield, I'm willing to concede that Ramsey perhaps was their main target for that midfielder position, so that's okay. Striker, no. Winger, no. I think that was in Bomo. So I think they've maybe got their main midfielder target in Ramsey, but the rest felt like their second or third choice, which is still a success. But that's why I'm going to put them in looks good because, well, I think the window looks good rather than fantastic for them. Back to the board. Oh, we've got Nottingham Forest here. Brilliant. Right, we're still doing this. We're still on the move. Right then, they've been busy, haven't they? They've spent a lot of money. Too much money, maybe, because Amadi Hutchinson's not even in the squad for Europa League. Neither is Zinchenko. He was left out of the Europa League squad as well. Now, Cubiano, who I don't know, I mean, this just feels dodgy, doesn't it? Right, so John Textor's all over this as well, the Crystal Palace former owner, and he's always been friends with the Forest owner. But they've signed him from Botafogo, and then they've just loaned him straight back immediately. I don't know. Anyway, Forest and Textor just feels weird. I don't know. I think there's more to come. I assume eventually he's going to own Nottingham Forest or something. But anyway, so we'll leave him out. Zinchenko, for a loan move, for a sort of like a last-minute piece of business, I think it's okay. I think it provides cover at left-back for Williams. He can play central midfield. But I think the time you were going to use Zinchenko was the Europa League, and he's not in the Europa League squad. So I think a lot of the benefits of signing Zinchenko have just been removed. Backcourt, I don't know enough about. Let's have a look. It says he's a right winger. Fine, yeah. 23 years of age. Already this season, he's got a goal and 2 assists. That's quite impressive. Can we see what he did last season? Does it allow you to change the season? Let me have a look. No, that's his games. I don't want his games. Can I change? Oh, no. I'm in the French league now. I don't want to be here. Get out of there. Maybe not. Maybe we can't change the seasons. That's kind of frustrating. Anyway, it's a voyage of discovery, I guess, for him. I don't know enough about him, so I can't comment, but they spent big money on him anyway. John Victor, who I do know about because of West Ham, goalkeeper. Savonas came in from Juventus as a right back to compete with Aina. Douglas Luiz on loan. I think it's 15 appearances and they've got to sign him. But as long as they get the Aston Villa Douglas Luiz, that's a fantastic signing. Callum Wendo, again, is someone I don't know loads about, but I've heard loads about him. A lot of people wanted him at West Ham. I think there's a lot of excitement about him. 40 goals in 112 games for Rennes when he was at Lens. Prior to that, on loan, 13 to 35. So he's definitely a goal scorer. Young, 23 years of age. Looking forward to seeing what he's got. McAtee, I like. Was quite a big price tag. I'm not sure I would have been comfortable paying as much as they did for him. And I'm not sure he's a player for Nuno. Okay, I have reservations over this transfer. And it's not because of him, it's because of Nuno. However, I will also concede I'm not confident Nuno will be Nottingham Forest manager come the end of the season, never mind next season. Matty Hutchinson, again, I like. It's just an expensive price tag. And I'm just mind blown that he's not in the Europa League squad. I appreciate they had to leave players out, but I think that's a big player to leave out. I mean, it's their record transfer signing, isn't it? This player they paid most for in the summer, and he's not in the Europa League squad. I just can't get my head around it. I'm not having it. So he's going to have to really make his way into the team in the Premier League. But this is the problem. If you've got a disconnect between Nuno and Edu, I think this is where you're seeing it clearly. It's hard to say that you feel like Nuno's wanting Hutchinson if he's not even in the Europa League squad. I like it as a transfer in terms of the player, but I don't like it as a transfer in terms of what's already happened. The window's shut on Monday. I'm recording this on Friday, and it's not a good situation. I think Gunn's a sensible signing, but then they've gone and got John Victor, so it feels like quite a serious goalkeeper to have as your third choice keeper. And Doy, I like from Bologna. I like him. Cunha looked all right at the Club World Cup. Igor Jesus looked really good at the Club World Cup. So that signing is someone I'm quite excited to see more of. And I think he'll eventually nick Chris Wood's spot, but then he's got competition with Callum Wendo. But Nottingham Forest were certainly busy. In terms of players out, Richard is just a transfer. It never really worked out. I remember when he joined Forest, I thought it was a good signing. He's gone out on loan. They finally got rid of Dennis. Carlos Miguel's gone off to Palmeiras. Just got a few million quid in for him. Matt Turner, they've sold him to Lyon. John Textor again. And Danilo gone to Botafogo. John Textor again. They've sold a few players, not the Forest, so they recoup some of their money. But in terms of the transfers in, I like it. I'm looking forward to seeing what Nottingham Forest have got. We've got a big squad now, a lot of squad depth, which they needed with the European campaign. I feel like they spent quite wisely, actually. It's hard not to say fantastic for Nottingham Forest. I'm looking forward to seeing what they've got. I think it might just need a different manager getting the most out of that squad now. I feel like the squad has changed for a different style of football, but we'll wait and see. I'm going off our tangent there, haven't I? Right, can we stick with our clicking? Man City, yes we can for now. Let's head off to the Etihad and see what they've done. They've done a bit of business quite early. Well, Donnarumma was done quite late on transfer deadline day. Obviously a top goalkeeper. James Trafford, another top goalkeeper. Bit of a surprise signing, that one. I think I just assumed he was going to go to Newcastle and that was that. I didn't even know they signed this player. Who's this? So he's gone to Middlesbrough on loan. So they signed him for 10 million or so, and then he's gone out on loan. A central midfielder. I mean, his statistics look quite good. His goals. Oh, he's only 18 years of age. That's maybe why we've 14 goals in 67 games. Bloody hell, that's a serious return, isn't it? I bet there's Football Manager geeks watching right now thinking, how have you not heard of this guy? I assume he's good on Football Manager. They tend to be, don't they? Anyway, Man City have signed a random player I've never heard of. Just a goalkeeper that's coming from Chelsea there. Reinders is a fantastic signing. Don't know why it says no fee, but they paid 43 million for him. He looks like a fantastic signing. Cherki's an exciting player. I'm looking forward to seeing him. I knew he's one of the best left backs in the Premier League. All is good. So I thought they'd done more signings than that. Is that all they've done? I guess they've done a lot in January, haven't they? I think maybe that's what's thrown me a little bit, because obviously they brought in Kusanov, Reece, Marmoush and Gonzalez in January, spending big money. So maybe they didn't do as much business as I thought in the summer. Right? Nuri, Cherki, Reinders, Trafford, Donnarumma, 5 big signings there. So I guess they have been quite busy. In terms of players out, Gundogan's gone, which I think is a good thing. He wasn't going to be in the Champions League squad anyway. Ederson went, quite a low fee, but a good player. He's gone quite quiet, hasn't he? I feel like it deserved a bigger fanfare. Akanji obviously went to Inter Milan on loan on transfer deadline day or the day before. Kabori's gone to Wrexham. That's a good signing for Wrexham. Jack Grealish obviously out on loan. James McAtee was sold. Yeah, I like the business they've done. Obviously, Reece is someone that they took in and then they've loaned out pretty quickly to Girona. So there's their other club owned by the same owner. So we'll see how they get on, how he gets on there. But anyway, I think they've done okay, Man City. I'm not going to put it in fantastic, because that would be a lie. Am I being harsh? Is my expectations for Man City too much? Let me think about this, actually. Because they brought in 2 top goalkeepers. They brought in a top left back, top midfielder in Reinders. So why am I not putting them in fantastic? What's preventing me doing that? Is it the start to the season? It feels a bit underwhelming, doesn't it? Why am I not putting it in fantastic? I feel like I should. Is it the winger? Do I feel like they needed to bring in wingers? Doku, Oscar Bob's back from injury now. Don't know, there's something that says to me don't put them in fantastic, but now I'm thinking about it, I feel like maybe I should. It's heart v head. My head's saying put them up there, but my heart's saying leave them where they are. I'll leave them where they are. I'll go with my gut. But I think I could be persuaded to knock them up to fantastic. Right then, let's go back. Oh, we've got Burnley, brilliant. Right, this is still going. We're doing all right. We're getting through the. What are we on now? We're more than halfway through, aren't we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 left. We're on our 8 left after Burnley. We're over halfway clicking on teams going by transfers. I think we might come stuck here though. But anyway, don't know who Florentina Louis is coming in midfield. Broja, I don't like that signing at 20 million. Has he played yet for Burnley? I've not been able to watch Burnley. So he played against Derby in the cup. Got an assist. That's it. He hasn't played in the Premier League for them yet. I can only assume he's just been an unused sub for them. I'm not keen on that one. It says here, lack of fitness, expected back. Like 14th of August. I don't know what that means. Anyway, I'm not too keen on that signing. Hugo Chukwu, I like it. Jabraka, I like it. Larson, I mean, he knows Burnley well, doesn't he? He got an assist against Man United, or was that the goal that got disallowed? I don't know. He played in a really good cross anyway against Man U. Kyle Walker, I like. It feels quite low risk. Chuanu, who I don't know who this guy is, 21-year-old left-footed right winger. He's been playing. He got 16 minutes, 7 minutes, 25 minutes. He's been coming off the bench, but I've not seen Burnley play this season. That's one of the clubs I just have not seen play. Tuanzebe, I think, is a good signing when he's fit. That's the issue. Hartman, I'm looking forward to discovering at left back, but from what I've seen in terms of the highlights, he looks quite good. Humphreys has come in. Has he played yet? I'm going to say no, because I know Hartman's been playing. Played a half against Derby. Okay, so we're going to have to wait and see a little bit for Humphreys, but quite a big fee, £10 million maybe they've taken in. Then the rest of them is just players that they had to sign. They had to sign Fleming, Anthony Edwards, because of the loan moves that they took in during the season. They had to turn them into permanent transfers. But Anthony's obviously got a goal already. I think that's a good signing for a newly promoted side, actually. So I quite like the business Burnley have done. It's just this Broja one. I think had they got someone else in, I'd have been more keen on it. In terms of players out, though, they have lost quite a few important players, haven't they? Obviously, James Trafford's one of them. Where are you? Egan Riley, Brownhill's gone. Looks like he's off to Saudi. So there's been quite a few key players for their championship team that's disappeared. But I think they've recruited okay. Yeah. Where we're putting them. I'm going to put them in. It's all right. It's not as good as Sunderland. It hasn't blown me away. I think they're still lacking a little bit. And I think one or two of the players have brought in and perhaps maybe not at the quality they need to be. So it certainly wasn't a bad window for Burnley, but I also don't think it's a window. Oh, sorry, I'm not into. I've put them in. It's all right. It's certainly not a window that makes me think that they're going to survive. Saying that, they've done a little bit better than I thought so far this season. In terms of teams I've watched, by the way, I know this is random. I've seen Arsenal play plenty already. Chelsea, Sunderland, Liverpool, Forest, obviously. Bournemouth I've seen play all 3 games, actually. Newcastle, I think I've seen them play all 3 games. Who have they played? Villa, I watched that game. Leeds. And who was the game in the middle? I don't know. I feel like I want to say Arsenal, but I don't think it was. I feel like I've seen Newcastle play all 3 games. City I've watched a bit of. Palace yet. Brighton I haven't seen play this season yet. Burnley I haven't. Brentford I haven't seen play this season yet. Villa, yes. Everton, yes. Fulham, yes. Leeds I've seen play all 3 games. Man U, Spurs, yep. And then obviously I've seen every West Ham game in Wolves, yep, as well. So it's only these 3 B teams that I've not seen play. Right, back to the sales. Are we away to come stuck? Yeah, I think we have. We've done all these teams, haven't we? Let's see if we can go players out in. Have they done any business with a team that we haven't done? No, it's broken. Right, okay, off to the table. Let's get my team over and done with then, West Ham. In terms of our transfers, Igor I'm not keen on. I don't think he's a very good player, but he's only on loan. It's squad depth. I'm not keen on it. I feel like we should have done better. Magassa, I never heard of until we were linked to him, although those that do watch a lot of French football seem to think we've signed a really good player, so I'm excited to see him, but I'd be lying if I said I knew much. Fernandez, I think he's a great player. Just think we paid about 41 million for him. I think it's chunky. I think it's an expensive price tag. Good player, expensive price. Hermansen alike. Now, he's not got off to a good start at West Ham. 3 games, 2 bad games, and a good performance and clean sheet against Nottingham Forest, so 2 bad ones, 1 good one. So far, the signing doesn't look great, but I am a fan of Hermansen. Wilson was the opposite. I wasn't a fan of, although he's looked quite good so far. I thought he looked finished at Newcastle last season. Came off against Chelsea. Looked okay, but the bar was really low because the whole team were crap before he came on. However, he came off the bench against Nottingham Forest, got a goal, tried to steal Bowen's one and got it wrong. But so far, he's looking better than I thought. Cummings is just a young player. Walker Peters I'm a fan of. I think that's a really good signing on a free transfer. I think we're getting in a real experienced Premier League player of a good age, and we're going to need him. Malik Diouf I think is a good signing so far. Got a couple of assists already, although one of them was a generous assist. He gave it to Paqueta, who scored from 35 yards out. But his assist at the weekend against Nottingham Forest was very, very good. I think we'll get a few assists from him this season. And then Todibo was a loan move that we had to pay to turn into a permanent transfer. So overall, I think our business was okay. Players out. Aguerd went on transfer deadline day for just under 20 million. Didn't want to be here, so it was important we got rid of him. Cornet, we just saved a bit of wages by loaning him out to Genoa. Emerson, I'm surprised. Got $500,000. I'm surprised we didn't get more money. That feels like a bad transfer, but don't really feel like Potter ever really took to him. Alvarez out on loan. A bit disappointing there. Kudus obviously joining Spurs for 55 million, and we just cleared the decks with a lot of players out of contract. In terms of where I'm going to chuck us in the tier list, it's all right. Or I'm going to put not quite enough. Okay, I'm going to be honest. Is it a bad window? No. But I feel like we are a good centre-back and a striker short. Our strikers at the minute, we've got Nicolas Fulkrug, Callum Wilson, 2 older, injury-prone strikers. Apparently, Fulkrug's injured already. And we've got Callum Marshall, a young striker. It's not enough as far as I'm concerned. And then at centre-backs, the defence hasn't been good enough so far this season. So I was hoping we'd bring in a really good centre-back. We sold Aguerd for 18 million. So I thought, brilliant. Let's use that money to get in a really good centre-back. And we got in Igor on loan. So because of that, it's just not quite enough for me. Maybe I'm being a bit harsh. I do like the signings we've made. I just think it's just lacking a little bit. It's not a bad window, but the tier isn't called bad window. The tier is called not quite enough. And I think that's where I'm going to put West Ham. Back to the list. And again, I don't think we're going to be able to navigate our way over to a team that we've not done yet. I'm forgetting what teams we need to do. Well, we haven't done Spurs, actually, so let's do them. Incoming, Muani on loan on transfer deadline day or the day before from PSG. Feels like a really good risk-free signing for them on loan. Xavi Simons, I'm a huge fan of. I think this is a fantastic signing. Obviously not cheap, but I think he's an absolute wonderful player. I'm really looking forward to... Well, if he wasn't playing for Spurs, I'd really be looking forward to seeing him play. He's one of my favourite non-Premier League players, so I'm annoyed he's gone to Tottenham, but that's a good signing. Pellegrini, I think, is a fantastic signing. You know, it was a case of if they were getting Fulham's version, he'd be a brilliant signing. Already you can see they're getting Fulham's version. I think that's I think he'll be one of the best signings of the summer transfer window. Kudus can be hit and miss. I think potentially he's a top
player,
but will have his days where he doesn't perform very well. Although I will say, I think that's a good signing for them as well. Danso's on loan, just turned permanent. He looks okay, and same with Chow. So I think in terms of the business, I think the players they've brought in are of very high quality, a lot of experience as well. You know, Champions League experience, Champions League experience, Champions League experience, Champions League experience. They've recruited well, Spurs. In terms of players out, they did well to get any transfer fee for Gale. I forgot he was a Tottenham player, to be honest. When I seen that he'd left, I was like, wow, I just assumed he'd left a year or so ago. But most of it's just loans clearing decks. Obviously, the big one was Son, wherever he is. There he is, 20 million quid. I thought they did well to get 20 million for him. He's about 33. Is he 33? I think he's 33 years old now. So I think they actually got quite a good transfer fee for him. So in terms of the overall business for Spurs, yeah, I like it. I think it looks good. I'm going to put it in there. I don't think they needed loads. I think they've already got a really good squad. They've just added to it and brought in players that I think Thomas Frank is a fan of personally, and it's not the worst idea in the world when it comes to recruiting. I feel a bit bad leaving West Ham and Brentford here. Maybe I should just... Nah, I'm sticking with my honest opinion. Right, who have I got? Let me check my tier list. Villa, Everton, Fulham, Leeds, Man U, Wolves. I'm not going to be able to navigate over from Tottenham, am I? No, I'm stuck. Right, back to the league table. Everton. Let's have a look. Busy. Tyler Dibling's come in. Good young player. I think going to require a little bit of patience. I think for him. They got Rolling on transfer deadline day. Attacking midfielder from Freiburg. Just having a look at his numbers. 3 goals. Doesn't scream. I feel like I should know him. I don't mind a little bit of Bundesliga football. I feel like I should know this player a little bit more. He's not a name that's standing out to me, though. That's a reflection of me, not of him or Everton. But let's move on. Jack Grealish, I think, is a superb signing, as I've discussed. It's one of my favourite signings of the window. 4 assists already, so he started the ground running. He's going to be loving that. He's such a confidence player as well. So that's going to be through the roof now. Everton must be really looking forward to watching him play. As an Everton fan, you must be loving watching Grealish and really looking forward to watching more of him. Dewsbury Hall's a really solid signing for a David Moyes team. Got a goal already. I think he'll go on to become a success. Ansnu I really like, but I appreciate he's injured at the minute, so it's sort of like there's a little bit of trust me on this, but I think he'll go on and become a top signing for them. Travers is just cover for Jordan Pickford. Barry Alcaraz was just turning it into permanent. Barry, they've spent big money on him as a striker, and I think it's going to require a little bit of patience. 11 goals in 37 for Villarreal. A few West Ham fans wanted him at West Ham. Can't say I know too much about him, to be honest with you. I don't watch Spanish football, but I know there's a lot of people thought he would have been a good signing for us. In terms of the style of play, he certainly sounds like a striker that will do well under Moyes, but I think Beto is going to be a hard player for him to dislodge, so I think he's going to require a bit of patience. In terms of players out, I mean, to get any money for Chimiti was good, but he's gone off to Rangers. Also, Calvert-Lewin rejected a contract, ended up signing for Leeds United. They didn't really do much, did they, in terms of players out? It was more just clearing the decks with the likes of Begovic, Decore, Holgate. So that's Michael Keane. I'm sure he's still there, isn't he? Is Michael Keane not at Everton anymore? Am I going mad? No, it still says he's at Everton. As I say, I thought he played. I'm sure I've seen him play. I did see him play. I'm not going mad. Maybe his contract expired and he signed a new one. Is he here then? Well, he's not here. I don't know. Sorry for a contract extension. He's not here either. What's going on with Michael Keane and FotMob? Maybe they just don't like him. I thought he signed a new contract. I'm confused. Anyway, there you go. That's Everton. So what am I going to do? Tier list. I almost forgot about this bit. I like it. I'm going to put it in. Looks good. I think it feels a bit like I feel like they could have done with one or two more players. I was waiting for them to sign a right back in particular because I think Patterson's not great. Coleman's a bit old. O'Brien's doing well there, but I'd like to see him as played centre back a bit more at Everton's. But it's certainly good. The Grealish signing alone is almost good enough to put them in fantastic. Maybe I should put them in fantastic, but it feels like a strong signing, a strong window for Everton. I like their business, actually. I just think a right back would have been the thing to make it a fantastic one. Right, Wolves is here. Can we click on that? Yeah, we can. We need to do Wolves, so let's have a little look. Right then, Arok Dare is, as discussed in the previous video when I offended someone, in from Genk, top goal scorer in Belgian football. I don't know him. I can't tell you anything about him, but 41 goals in 113 games is serious business. He was at Cologne. Well, that's a discovery for me. I do not remember him at all in the Bundesliga. Anyway, big player. Does it have his height here? 197 centimetres. What's that? Is he 6'6"? He's 6'4". I had a look. He's 6'4". There you go. I should know that. But anyway, Arok Dare has come in. Chachua has come in as well. He's just rapid, one of the fastest players in Italy. Right wing back, he's come in. Wolf's come in at left wing back. Big shoes to fill. From what I've seen from either of them so far, I haven't been blown away. I mean, his pace is blowing me away, but in terms of just him as a footballer, I'm still... It's early days, yeah. I'm not writing him off. I'm just saying I haven't been impressed, but I also haven't been disappointed. Same with Wolf. I've not seen him and thought, oh, wow, what a fantastic signing. But the last signing that came from Alkmaar to play left back in the Premier League, done all right. Arias looked good at the Club World Cup, but again, in a Wolves shirt, he hasn't blown me away just yet. Stan Larsen was obviously made into a permanent transfer. For Lopez, when he played against West Ham in the Cup, he looked quite good, actually. He looked quite a real technical attacking midfielder. I don't know much about him. 21-year-old left-footed attacking midfielder. Just 4 goals and 20 for Celtic. So, okay, so he played for their sort of B team, 11 and 51. That's quite good for a midfielder, an attacking midfielder. Got promoted last season, obviously, so he played in the senior squad for a season, and then he's joined Wolves. So he's someone I'm actually looking forward to seeing a little bit more. In terms of players out, though, quite a busy one, weren't it? They've done well to somehow scam 20 million out of Dortmund for Fabio Silva. This player's got to be money laundering. Him and João Felix are the two players I think must just be money laundering. They've got to be. Aitnura going to Man City, Cunha going to Man U, Lamina went off to Galatasaray. Oh, I was about to say, was that not back in January? It was back in February that he left. Doyle's gone to Birmingham on loan. Semedo and obviously left on a free transfer. Sarabia, I didn't know he'd left. I thought he was still there. Okay, that's news. Sarabia has gone off to Saudi. I assume at the end of his contract. I didn't know that. See, this video is good. I'm learning something. That's Wolves. Right, I'm not going to lie. I know where I'm putting them. It's not quite enough. I just don't think it is. I don't think they've had a good window. I think they needed more. Obviously, that signing a striker from Genk, maybe that would change things and Wolves fans will say, oh, no, we're all right. We've signed him. It's fine. I don't know. I just feel like the squad needed added to. And obviously, you've lost Cunha and Aitnuri, two big players. I'm not sure you've replaced them adequately. Maybe you have. But I think if you're going to need to replace a lot. Also, Semedo's a big loss as well. Chachua might come good, but it doesn't scream good window to me. So I'm going to leave Wolves in the not quite enough. I feel like they needed a little bit more. Now, if we go to Cunha, because we need to do Man U, so let's skip over there to Old Trafford. Now, we know their transfers. Lamens has come in on transfer deadline day, goalkeeper. Can't say I know much about him, but they certainly need their bloody goalkeeper. Sesko, as covered in the previous video, I get bad vibes. Bad vibes I'm getting. Good player, just I think it's maybe the wrong club and it's an expensive transfer fee as well. I'm not sure about Sesko to Man U. And Bomo, yeah, big yes. I think he will work at Man U. I think Cunha will work at Man U. Two top signings, those two. I'm a big fan of those two signings. Like I said, Sesko I'm a fan of. Lemans just don't know enough about. I mean, we could have a look at his statistics, but it's not going to... It looks like he's really good at coming for crosses. The rest of it doesn't look great, does it? But it's a goalkeeper. I think stats for a goalkeeper can be quite hard. Goals prevented is looking good, so that's promising, I suppose, on the basis of this season already. So he's only faced 15 shots, conceded 4, but he's expected to concede 5 goals, and he's conceded 4 of them. High claims is really good. He's the best in European football so far for his high claims. I guess that would be good for saved a pen. So his stats look all right, but I think for a goalkeeper, it's very, very difficult to gauge statistically. But they certainly needed a goalkeeper. They've got one now, so let's see if he's any good. But like I said, Cunha and Mbeumo, I'm a big fan of. In terms of players out, Sancho went off to Villa. Amas went to Sheffield Wednesday. Højlund went to Napoli on loan. Anthony finally joined Real Betis. Garnacho to Chelsea. So while there's done a lot of business, I don't think it's the best business. You know, Rashford on loan felt like maybe they could have done a little bit better. Malacia went to PSV on loan, did that. Is he still there? So Malacia didn't end up going anywhere, did he? I remember him going out there, and I know he was sort of cut out. So maybe Amarim's going to have to try to bring him back into the fold, but it was certainly someone they were trying to move on, and they've obviously failed to. But Sancho, loan. Højlund, loan. So players that were wanting rid of, they could only really loan them out. The only player they sold was Anthony, and they've taken a massive hit on that compared to what they paid. So it's hard to say it was good business. Obviously, Garnacho they sold, but again, it wasn't a good deal for Man U. I think it was a better deal for Chelsea than Man U at £40 million or whatever it was they paid. So I like some of their business in. Cunha and Mbeumo I'm a big fan of. They've got their goalkeeper, but I don't know. It's just it's not fantastic. I'm going to put it in it's all right because I think they needed a midfielder and they haven't got a midfielder. The business out I think was bad. A lot of talents left that club and haven't really got much money in for them. But saying that, Cunha, I'm in the Man City thing again. Because of Cunha and Mbeumo, I want to put it in looks good. But because of the departures, it feels like a failure and also no midfielder. And I think a midfielder was important for Man U. I think they needed to get in a striker and a number 10, a centre midfielder and a goalkeeper. They've got 3 of those 4, and they've got an extra number 10 in with Mbeumo and Cunha coming in. But they are both really good. I'm a big fan of those 2 signings. Do you know what? I'll put them in, it looks good, because I'm a huge fan of Mbeumo and Cunha. So I'll be kind. Be kind to Man U. I'm also aware I can be quite anti-Man U, so maybe I'm just a bit biased. Right then, let's turn back to our list. We need to get to Aston Villa or Leeds. We're not going to do that through Man U, are we? Why have I clicked on squad? I don't need to do that. Let's go to Leeds United. Right then, James Justin, no. It felt like a panic. It felt like a panic when I seen this one from Leeds. It felt like a panic buy. It's not to say they don't need a fullback, but it's cover for Bogle, competition for Bogle. Maybe he'll replace Bogle. Can play left back as well. But I don't know. Just felt like a bit of panic to me, that signing. No, Okafor, he's just injured a lot, isn't he? Can we see how injured he gets? Does this tell us? Is there anything here that says very injury prone? Probably not. But we're on loan to Napoli for half season, 4 appearances. I don't know. I remember him at Salzburg, and he was very good at Salzburg. He looked like a really good young player. He's only 24. He just turned 24 as well. But I think he's just picks up a lot of injuries, if memory serves right. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm getting him muddled up with someone else. It just feels like an injury player. Calvert-Lewin, it feels underwhelming. I'm not going to lie. I thought they were going to get in a big money striker, and you could argue that's what Noah is, but I'm not sure it is. He might come good. It feels like a bit of a punt, and I think one punt's okay. If they brought in Calvert-Lewin plus a big money signing, they were heavily linked to Muniz of Fulham. If they got Calvert-Lewin and Muniz, I'd be saying that's excellent business. But they didn't. They got Calvert-Lewin and Nemecha, wherever he is. There he is. They got Nemecha in as well, who's started quite brightly at Leeds. I think one of those, Calvert-Lewin and Lemaitre, plus a better striker would have been good. But they didn't. They got two. I feel like they've got two punts, two sort of backup strikers. Not convinced. Perry looks all right as a goalkeeper so far. I think he's going to be busy. He needs to be a good signing. Stack, I'm a huge fan of. Big yes for me. 10 out of 10 signing. Longstaff, I think I've defended that signing. I will keep on defending it. I've seen a bit of criticism for him. Saying, no, you can't tackle, he can't attack, he can't pass. I think that's harsh. I think he is a little bit jack of all trades, master of none, but a very hard-working player. I think you need some players like that. I think he's a good signing for Leeds. Goodmanson, I think, has looked brilliant so far, actually, when I've seen Leeds play. And I've seen a bit of Leeds. I think I've seen Leeds play all 3 games. They beat Everton, got smashed by Arsenal, drew Newcastle. Yeah, I've seen him play all 3 games so far. He's someone that stood out to me. He looks like a good signing. Just 26 years of age from Lille. I think I've been impressed by him. I wouldn't be surprised if he's one of the better signings of the season in the Premier League. Bornau's come in, centre-back from Wolfsburg, big centre-back from Wolfsburg. They signed a lot of big players, didn't they? I think that's a safe enough signing. Bijol's come in from Udinese as well, another big centre-back, who I think is an upgrade on what they've got. So I think they've done okay, Leeds. Players out. Now, this is the one I don't get. Ramazani's someone who I thought was really good for Leeds last season. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've remembered it incorrectly, but I like him. I liked him. So when I seen him leaving Ellen Road, I thought that was took me by surprise a little bit. It feels like a gamble loaning him out. The other players that left, I don't think there's anyone that's jumping out as a big one. Christensen also went to Frankfurt. They lost Firpo, didn't they? He joined Real Betis in the end, I think. He's at Real Betis. I'm pretty certain he joined Real Betis in the end. Yeah, he did. Feels like a bit of a loss, but then I think they've recruited well in Goodmanson. So Leeds, I'm going to put in not quite enough. Now let me just stress this, because I know Leeds fans can be a bit angry with me. I thought me and Leeds fans got on well, right? Early doors doing this channel, I had some nice things from Leeds fans, but then when I've done my season predictions and stuff, I found them arguing with me because I put them to go down and I got told you're wrong. They're going to be 10th, 11th in the league and stuff like that. You can go back and check. It wasn't the season prediction one. It was the one I did previously. I put them in tier list and I put Leeds in the relegation battle category. And there was 6 teams I put in the relegation battle. Brentford, Wolves, West Ham, and the 3 promoted teams. And I got a bit of backlash from Leeds fans. You don't know what you're talking about. We've signed giants. We're going to be 10th or 11th. And I thought, bloody hell, I think 17th is a success for any promoted team. And I ain't buying it. Whatever Leeds fans were serving up on this channel back then, I wasn't buying it. And I'm still not. I don't think they've done enough. I like some of the business they've done. I've made that clear. That attack is not good enough. The players they brought in the final third, I just don't think is good enough for the Premier League. I think so far, they've scored one goal this season so far, and it was a penalty. They haven't scored from open play yet, and I don't think they've been troubling teams from open play yet either. So they've been working hard. They've been playing well from a defensive aspect and a hard work aspect, but I just think they're lacking. I think Nonto looks all right. Dan James was good in Championship. I'm not sure he's good enough at Premier League level. Harrison's come back into the fold, who was stinky at Everton, so I don't know why. I think he's there just out of desperation at Leeds. It's just because we've got nothing else, let's bring him back in. Addison's gone in there, who I think will get a second chance at Leeds. But I just don't think they've got enough in attack. I'm sorry. I don't think Leeds have recruited well enough from an attacking aspect. The midfield, yes. The left back, yes. The goalkeeper, yes. Centre back, yes. So I think I like a lot of their business. It's just not enough as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going to leave them where I think they should be, which is not quite enough, because that's what I believe they've done. Aston Villa or Fulham. Let's have a look. Hey, there you go. Next match, Leeds away to Fulham. Brings us on to Fulham nicely. Right then, it's not a very big list, is it? 4 players. This player on loan from Bayern Munich. Who's this guy? Asadi. I don't know him. He's played 2 times for Bayern Munich. That's probably why I don't know him then. Right, okay, I'm not going to comment about him. Fort Mob, I've got him down as a forward, and that's it. They don't even have him on the pitch. So I can only assume he's a striker of some description. So I'm not going to comment on him. Kevin, I get a player I've heard of but never seen play, and I always think that means you're a good player. That's my very basic rule of thumb. 17 goals and 57 appearances for Shakhtar. They spent big money, 40 million. They wanted him quite a bit this season. Started 22 games, obviously, because the league's different for Ukrainian teams. 4 assists and 6 goals. So 10 goals and assists in 22 games. Good. I know people say, yeah, but it's a different standard of league. Of course, that's valid, but it looks like they're getting a good player. Certainly someone that Fulham wanted quite a lot, I think. Now, Chukwueze is someone who I remember at Villarreal. Yeah, he was good at Villarreal. At Milan, I can't say I've watched loads of him, but 8 goals and 72 doesn't scream a huge success. But I remember when he was at Villarreal and he was breaking through, there was a lot of hype about him and a lot of excitement about him as a fast winger. Whether he's still that fast, tricky winger remains to be seen. But I don't really have an opinion of him. Goalkeeper, substitute goalkeeper they brought in. Again, can't tell you too much about him. So Fulham, it feels a bit underwhelming. In terms of players out though, Martial, who's this guy? Why don't I recognise him? 5 appearances he made last season. I don't feel like I recognise him. Anyway, he's left. He's gone. Pereira got out of the club off to Palmeiras. It felt like it was turning a little bit sour at his time at Craven Cottage. I remember that one season was really good, but it felt like towards the end, it felt like it was a good departure for Fulham to get him gone. Tom Kearney, I mean, this is fake news. He's still there. I've seen him play. I mean, I thought he'd left. I've seen him playing. So yeah, that's fake news. He's still there. So obviously his contract expired. He signed a new deal. Carlos Vinicius, is he gone now? I was never convinced by him. Oh, he's back in Brazil now. So I assume, yeah, a free transfer. Never ever convinced by him. Scored a couple of goals for Fulham. I mean, to be fair, statistically, 8 and 48 here doesn't sound like the worst thing in the world, does it? But just one of those players never took off. 30 years old. I thought he was younger than that. Just not a lot of activity at Fulham, was there? I'm going to put him in not quite enough. Maybe they don't need enough because there was. Do you know what? I put in it's all right, and I'm going to justify my reasons here. I think sometimes we as football fans can get caught up that lots of business equals good business, and that in order to do good transfers, you have to do a lot of transfers. But actually, keeping a settled squad is not a bad thing. I mean, when you look at it, they've still got Leno in goal. They've still got Robinson, who hasn't even been starting this season, with Sessegnon at left back. Their centre-backs, Sebastian Anderson, are still there. They've still got Tete and Castagna right back. Their midfield's the same with Lukic and Sanderberg. Kearney's obviously signed on. They've still got Iwobi. So I think a lot of their better players they've kept. They've kept Muniz, for example. They just didn't add loads to it. But I guess you could argue they didn't need to. I think I'll be kind and leave them in it's all right. I am tempted to put it in not quite enough because it feels like Marco Silva felt like it wasn't quite enough. But they've spent big money on Kevin, so it'll be interesting to see how he does. But also the sort of Josh King's sort of been promoted. I know he's part of the first team last season, but it feels like he's part of the first 11 this season. That's a big move for him and a big opportunity for them. So I'll leave them in it's all right. Purely because I think they had an all-right squad anyway. So have they improved it to kick on? No. But I don't think they've got worse either. Am I being generous on Fulham? Maybe I am. I'll leave them there. I am tempted to drop them down, but I'll leave them there. I'll be kind. That leaves Aston Villa. So let's get back to the old screen and go find Aston Villa. They're down the bottom of the table, aren't they? Yeah, 19th. 1 point from 3 games. Let's have a look. Transfers. Harvey Elliott, I think, is a top signing. I'm a big Harvey Elliott fan. Sancho, it's a risk-free signing, isn't it? I think they need to get players in. I'm neutral on that signing. It could be good, could be crap. But I think had they paid for him, I'd be a bit holding reservations. Lindelof, it's a free signing. It's a poor Premier League player. I don't think he's good enough for the Premier League anymore. So it's a low, say, average Premier League player. It's a lower average Premier League player, but he's not going to be starting. I think he's just there for cover, especially for European nights and stuff like that. And I do think they needed a centre-back. I guess Sand, I'm looking forward to see play. He hasn't sort of impressed me yet, but it's very early doors. A lot of people, again, whose opinions I do trust, are big fans of him. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can offer. Just 24 years of age, just turned 24. 1 in 4 at Nice in terms of scoring goals, but I know he does also rack up a few assists. There must be a way of seeing his assists on here from last season. Maybe not. Can I have a look at league? No. Yeah, it's last season. Here we go. Last season in the French league. See, you got his goals there. He's up in one of the best in European football. Where's his assists? Here you go. 8 assists last season. Very good return for him. So his duels, he's brilliant at. His defensive work rate looks really good for a winger or a striker. Depends what he's classed as on here. What are they classing him as? An attacking midfielder is what they're classing him as. You can see his shot map there. 43% hitting the target. This is where he scored his goals from. This is where he got his shots on target from. It feels like a good signing, but need to see him. Ozcan came in. Yassin is a centre-back. I think he's a young centre-back, isn't he? Yeah, just 19 years of age. He's coming from Turkey, is it? Yeah, he's coming from Turkey. Just double-checking there. Then that was back in January, these ones. So not loads of business for Aston Villa. In terms of players out, though, let's have a quick scan. Alex Moreno left, which is fine. They've got Lucadine and Maatsen. They didn't need him. He was at Nottingham Forest last season anyway. Leon Bailey's joined Roma on loan. I think there's a very low obligation to buy, 20 million quid. I think the Donker, was he still part of Villa's squad? Bloody hell, I just assumed he'd gone previously. He was a signing that looked good quickly, then disappeared quickly. Ramsey went to Newcastle. PSR thing is someone they didn't want to sell, but they had to. Barrenechea is someone I would have liked at West Ham, actually. I've seen a few Valencia games last season. I thought he stood out. Went to Benfica on loan. Feels all right. The transfers feel okay. Is it enough, though? I think maybe transfer deadline day with these two in particular maybe just saved them a little bit. But, I mean, I'm not putting them in these ones. I put in it's all right. Harvey Elliott's maybe saved it for them. I think coming into transfer deadline day was firmly in the not quite enough category for me. But I put him in it's all right because I do think Elliott is a top signing for them. Anyway, there you go. That's my tier list. It's quite even. Let me know who you disagree with. No doubt you'll agree with a lot, which is normal. You should disagree with a lot. It's a very normal thing, but let me know what tier you put everyone in. I didn't want to do too many. I didn't want to do a crap tier because that's just harsh. And I don't think, I mean, you can have a bad transfer window, but I think you'll only know come the end of the season if you had a good window or not. So this is just sort of what you think going by the business that they've done. It's rather than what you know, because you don't know anything yet, do you? You can take a guess. But that's how I've got it. So I've got Arsenal at the top there with Chelsea, Sunderland, Liverpool, and Nottingham Forest. Then I've got Bournemouth, Newcastle, City, Spurs, Everton, Man U, and looks good. Maybe I'm being kind on Man U. It's all right for Crystal Palace, Brighton, Burnley, Fulham, and Aston Villa. And then not quite enough. I think Brentford just feels a bit light. West Ham needed that centre-back and striker. I think we're just a striker short of having a decent squad for the Premier League season. Wolves, again, it's just the departures outweigh the incomings as far as I'm concerned at the moment. And then Leeds is just that lack of attack. I just think they needed extra. Anyway, don't be shy. Get involved. Let me know in the comments below where you would put each team. Give me a tier list and let me know, like I said at the start, let me know who you support and how you think your team did. Which category would you put them in? Maybe I'm being harsh on my own team, West Ham. I feel like if I'm being harsh on anyone, I feel like I'm being harsh on West Ham. If I'm being generous on anyone, it feels like maybe Fulham I'm being quite generous on. Let me know in the comments below. Before you disappear though, if you don't mind, please do drop a like on it, subscribe if you're new to Tartan YouTube channel, and I'll catch up with you in a bit.